Hi guys, I'm going to be making a new cookbook, and it's going to be a little mini cookbook that's coming out on ebook, and I'm going to make all the recipes. I'm going to throw them up at some point in time, or some of them I'm going to throw up, but this is my one recipe to introduce my new cookbook. It's going to be a Christmas cookbook, and what better way to start Christmas than with love. So this is a love cake. A friend of mine gave me this recipe a long time ago, probably 25 years ago, and I made this cake a lot for my kids. So I'm going to read you the ingredients, and she doubled everything. I'm only making half the ingredients today, so everything you see here is half of what she called for. And as usual, it has a deep south twist, and it is going to be gluten-free. The only thing I don't have out right now is the flour, and we'll add that last minute. It's called a love cake. 2 cups of sugar, 2 cups of raisins, 2 cups of water, 2 sticks of margarine, 4 teaspoons of cinnamon, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 6 tablespoons of boiling water, 4 cups of plain flour, 2 teaspoons of baking soda. And then there's an icing recipe on back. The icing is 2 cups of powdered sugar, 2 tablespoons of butter, 2 teaspoons of vanilla, and 3 tablespoons of milk. Okay, right now I'm gonna tell you our deep south twist. Right here, these are what I call blazons. Blazons are blueberries that we picked, and I dehydrated them. And I put them in here. They look a little white because they've got frost on them. I kept them in the freezer instead of just putting them in a jar. I have some in a jar, but I took these out of the freezer because I'm trying to clear out freezer room. But these are, instead of raisins, my deep south blazons. Then cinnamon. I had a friend send me some real cinnamon, so we're going to add that. And the only other thing is the gluten-free flour. We're going to just be using a regular Bob's Red Mill gluten-free flour to add into the mix. I just realized at last minute I didn't have it added here. And I don't have the stuff for the icing. We'll do that later. We're going to get to mixing this together, and I'll show you what we have to do. We're going to add our first 5 ingredients. I've added a cup of water, and I am doing half the recipe because it makes 2 cookie sheets. I only need 1. We have company coming later in the week and company next week, and so I'm adding 1 cup of water, 1 stick of butter, 1 cup of sugar, and 2 teaspoons of my cinnamon, all into this pot. And we need 1 cup of raisins. Remember, these are blazons. These are my blueberries that I dehydrated. So we're adding all that into this pot. We're going to melt the butter, bring it all to a boil. And boil it for about 5 minutes. And y'all, this cinnamon smells fabulous. I put 1 teaspoon of baking soda in 3 tablespoons of boiling water, and it's ready for later. The flour, I'm using 1.5 cups of Bob's Red Mill baking flour and half a cup of coconut flour. Miss Kathleen sent me some flour, and I love cooking cakes and stuff with coconut flour, but I don't use the whole mix. And I added 2 teaspoons of baking powder to my flour. Okay, this is starting to melt the butter, starting to try to boil, and this is going to rehydrate my blueberries. Our mixture is boiling, as you can see. Smells wonderful. The blueberries have rehydrated. We're going to add, I'm going to turn the fire off because we don't need the fire now. Sit it over to the side a little. This has boiled 5 minutes. We're adding our baking soda and water to the mix, and all of it. Stir it in really well. It's going to foam up some. Can you see? It's foaming a little. We add our flour mixture. And like I say, this is a combination of coconut, half a cup of coconut, 1.5 cups of Bob's Red Mill gluten-free baking mix, baking flour. We're going to mix it really well, and it's got our baking powder added to this. And this is what it's looking like. You mix it really well. And we're going to put it on a cookie sheet. Here we have a greased cookie sheet. I have greased it really, really well with Crisco. And we're going to put this on there. It looks like a giant chocolate chip cookie to me. Kind of like that. I'm going to put it on here. We're going to spread it out real thin. And we're going to bake it for 12 to 15 minutes at 350. The best way to do this, just get your hands in there. Just press it out and make it work for you. Works so much better. You don't want it too lumpy in the middle, so make sure you press it out, and you don't want it too thin at the sides. You could use craisins, blaisins, raisins, any of the dried like that you want to put in here. And I think they would all make it just fine. And there you have it. We're going to bake it for 12 to 15 minutes at 350. I've mixed up my milk, butter, and vanilla. And just got it warm and added in powdered sugar. And then I've glazed the top of it. And that is our love cake. Thank you from Deep South Homestead.